Welcome viewers to Historical Journeys. Broadly known as the Nursery of Britain, the prolific farmland and drowsy towns of Kent make up a pleased piece of English legacy. In any case, this district is likewise home to an entrancing secret that is near 200 years of age, the Shell Cavern. This captivating underground space has perplexed individuals since its disclosure. When was it made? For what reason is it even there? Regardless of its stunning appearance, replies to these inquiries are difficult to find. Individuals are rushing to this English social fortune in endeavors to settle a secret. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It only takes a second, and you won't miss any of our future videos. Let's get started. While Margate is a well-known objective today, for the people who like loosened-up shoreline resorts, that wasn't generally the situation. Quite a while back, the seaside town was just a modest fishing spot, with homes spread around the harbors. At that stage, the main genuine structure of note was St. John's congregation, sat on ascent investigating the remainder of the local area. Normally, Margate demonstrated an ideal area. Individuals started to rush to the town, and throughout the long term, it gradually changed into a clamoring area of interest. Presently, the subtleties of the disclosure really do contrast a touch contingent upon where you look. However, most of reports date the activity to the year 1835. Around then, a man named James Newlove had been uncovering earth ashore close to his home, planning to make a duck lake. As indicated by one record during the dig, James' scoop unexpectedly met no obstruction, uncovering an opening driving into a dull underground space. With the pair naturally inquisitive regarding what was down there, Joshua was let down on a rope by his dad. Both were stunned by what he found. Surprisingly, it revealed a dynamite cave that flaunted the maize shell improvements along its walls. Granted, James' little girl later shared a totally different record of the disclosure. She recommended Joshua had definitely had some significant awareness of the cave ahead of time. As cited by the Shell Cave, his site Francis Newlove said, "My sibling learned about the underground spa at some point before it was known. He never considered telling Dad. He found the chalk-free toward one side of the section close to the bungalow, which was constructed a short time later, and he opened it up by removing the stuff, so to speak, in unpleasant blocks. Then, while the opening was adequately wide, he crept through and got into the cave. Thus did I, indeed, and a few other little kids came to Francis added. We sneaked in through the opening and needed to scour ourselves directly through the grimy chalk and legend. We ruined ourselves." No matter what the subtleties behind the underlying disclosure, the Shell Cavern proceeded to make the news on May 22, 1838. That day, the Kentish paper uncovered that individuals from general society would before long be permitted to visit the baffling space, and near 200 years after the fact, it's actually open for individuals to wonder about while visiting Margate. Be that as it may, as we referenced prior, questions keep on being gotten some information about it. You'd think after this time that there could be some thought of the Shell Cave as starting points and reason right. It's a long way from ideal for those frantic to break the secret. However, there are a lot of hypotheses out there attempting to fill in the spaces. Before we jump into them, however, we have an inquiry for you. The site can be viewed as away from the rushing about of Margate docks, sitting in a calm local location. The actual cavern has had private proprietors since it was first found. In the meantime, the memorable Britain Association has been answerable for keeping up with it throughout the previous 50 years. You see, in 1973, the site got an extraordinary eye posting. Entering the Shell Cavern, you will be invited into the exhibition hall room. Your staff field inquiries regarding the fundamental fascination before you advance down. And that is not all as noted on the authority site. Our variety board welcomes guests made to show the brilliant shades of the cave when it was first made. We urge you to contact this board. The cavern is exceptionally delicate and mustn't be contacted. A chalk entry will then, at that point, weave its direction towards the Shell Cavern is unique opening which looks like a winding passageway. By following this way, it'll ultimately enter a round sinkhole with the section sitting in the center. Furthermore, presently regardless of where you look, the sheer magnificence of the spot truly comes into center. Lays out overwhelm the walls generally laid in unimaginable courses of action. Yet, could anything at any point be gathered about the starting points of the cave by checking the shells out? We'd say so by far most have a place with whelks, mussels, shellfish, limpets, razor shells, and cockles, which can be generally picked right across the unified realm. So whoever made this space utilized neighborhood materials. As you look into, you will likewise see that the shell themes embellish the roof to while before you is another winding path. You will see a vault with an opening underlying the center of it, which permits normal light to flood into the cave. It's ostensibly the most dazzling element here, with the encompassing shell mosaics truly grabbing the attention. You can follow the meshing way into the last region, and hypothesizing about the first motivation behind this room can truly get the pinions buzzing. Named the raised area chamber, it's a space brightened by considerably more shells with a half-circle dove into what has all the earmarks of being a sanctum on the wall. While most of the shells around the cavern were in all likelihood privately obtained, furthermore, some of them can be found inside the adjust chamber. They don't come from the unified realm. Returning to the shells on the wall, however, something different could provoke your interest. How do the shells adhere to these underground surfaces? All things considered, trusting that it could prompt more responses about the cave as a general rule, a group took an example from the walls. Yet, as you keep on looking at the raised area chamber, you could see some harm in specific spots. The vaulted roof and one of the walls in the furthest corner have experienced the most. Tragically, in spite of having been covered up underground, the shell cavern actually felt the impacts of the Second Great War thanks to bombarding strikes. It's lucky that the special raised area chamber and the remainder of the cavern has endured moderately unblemished. As we referenced before, various speculations have been advanced about the shell cavern throughout the long term. Unfortunately for them, the underlying deluge of guests almost 2 centuries prior coincidentally ruined their possibilities dating the materials. All things considered, to illuminate a dim space, harking back to the 1900 years, you needed to manage with gas lights, and bounty were expected to light up the cloudy inside of the shell cave. Visits could never have been conceivable without them. In any case, because of their steady use down there, the present radiocarbon dating procedures won't work as expected. So the way in which old might this sinkhole at any point truly be that some propose the shell cave might be in the area of 3,000 years of age. Speculations have flourished that the sinkhole could have been worked for strict reasons, with the presence of the raised area chamber backing that up. Mind you, there are elective beginning speculations out there to a portion of the more cool, beautiful hypotheses propose that the cave could have connections to the Night's Night or nearby sea witches. In view of that, certain people accept that the shell cavern was made as a bootlegger's cave during that period. It isn't so much that near the docks, importance cheats would need to make a trip a fair distance to move their taken products. Best of luck being circumspect. There aren't any associating sections either, so we can comprehend the reason why individuals battle to acknowledge that specific hypothesis. In the wake of running over shell structures while venturing to the far corners of the planet, these people wanted to fabricate their own in anything that free space they might track down on their bequests. And a lot of those elaborate developments, in any case alluded to as imprudences, are as yet standing today. Might the shell cave be one more illustration of the prevailing fashion appearance-wise? It absolutely fits the depiction. Be that as it may, there are a few outstanding openings in this hypothesis as well. As the shell cavern site contends the land the cave lies under was farmland and, supposedly, has never framed piece of a bigger state. So how could a rich man's extravagant be worked under another person's field land? It's a valid statement. Additionally, the very truth that the cave was fabricated underground brings up additional issues. The site raised one more issue too, expressing in the event that the cavern had been worked during the 1700s, is it conceivable that all information on it had vanished when of its disclosure in 1835? The structure of the cavern would have been a mammoth undertaking. The uncovering of the paths shipping 4.6 million shells to the site, arranging those shells and enrolling sufficient work to make the mosaic. The more you consider it, the more outlandish that hypothesis turns out to be, yet a possibly thrilling improvement came to the front in 2007. At that phase, a beforehand unseen cave was situated underneath quite possibly of Italy's most renowned milestone, Palatine Slope. After looking into it further, the secret space apparently was decked out in shells and mosaic enhancements that reflected the style of the shell cave. Presently, the Phoenicians were behind this specific marvel. Could some have gone to Margate as they colonized pieces of Europe? That would be an incredible leap forward. No matter what every one of the unanswered inquiries and speculations, the shell cave hasn't lost its capacity to acquire the groups from all over. Be that as it may, for a period, it looked like the site could have been at risk for shutting down as a place of interest. The inside conditions had ultimately turned into a colossal issue for all concerned. Indeed, during the 1990s, it was found that the shell cavern had a soggy issue. Right away, that probably won't appear to be too extreme, yet extra dampness could unleash ruin on its inside. Luckily, some cautious support inside the sinkhole has since disposed of the issue. Cheerfully, the caves stay in one piece. The shell cave is open. With respect to grown-ups, you're taking a gander at a figure of somewhere in the range of $5 and $6. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay updated with our latest videos, subscribing is the way to go. Just click that red button below and become a part of our channel family.